everyone. Good evening for me, maybe good afternoon for you, depending on where you are. So today I haven't been live for a very long time actually, and one of the things that people really like and we really enjoy as well is just having some biscuits or cookies around the house. So today, I'm just going to cook with you. I'm going to show you how we make and how we bake our chocolate chip cookies. Originally, we thought we were just going to do and bake the chocolate chip cookies, but it's actually a really versatile recipe. So what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to bake the base or make the base, and based on the base, I'm going to also show you a few different flavors that you can do once you have that base. The base is very simple. It probably takes about 5 minutes to prepare the mixture for the cookie or the dough for the cookies. It's really quickly to make. It's going to take you 15 minutes in the oven. Probably the longest and hardest thing is the wait for them to cool down. So, an FYI, because it's this particular biscuit base is made with almond flour, it's going to have a different consistency from regular store-bought cookies or cookies baked with regular flour. So what we really want to make sure that we do is we wait for the cookies or biscuits to be completely cold, or we allow for them to cool down before we actually eat them, and then that way they have the best texture and they won't crumble as you eat them. They are very chewy, so if you like a chewy biscuit, this is going to be right down your alley. If you like them slightly crispier or drier, there is a couple of tips that I'm going to give you as well, if that's the texture that you're going for. Um, One of them is using a dehydrator. The other one is just baking them for a little bit longer. But without any further information, and if there's anyone watching, the life has changed a little bit since the last one that I made. So I don't know if there's any comments, or I can't see if people are um, liking the. Let me see. Can I see anything? No. So I'm not able to see the comments. So quite yet. Oh, I can see a little wave. Thank you. So perfect. Look, what we're going to always start with is just preheat your oven. For this biscuits, we're going to preheat the oven at. Here we go. We're going to preheat the oven at 160 degrees Celsius. If you do Fahrenheit, that's 320 Fahrenheit. And we're going to let it preheat there for a little while whilst we make our mixture. And again, time it, because it's not going to take more than 5 minutes. So it's really quick to make. I'm going to start with just a regular bowl. And we're going to start with our liquid ingredients. So I have previously melted, for the purpose of the video, I've purposely melted half a cup of butter. So really important, butter. Do not use margarine, do not use any vegetable spread. Just make sure that it's butter. If you didn't want to use butter and you wanted to use something different for your biscuits, I would recommend that you use avocado oil. I've tried them with avocado oil and they work well. The other oil that you can use is coconut oil. So if you're using coconut oil, melt it just as you would with butter. If you're using butter, melt it as well. I wouldn't recommend margarine or any other form of spread. So half a cup of your favorite fat, that can be butter, coconut oil, or avocado oil. Then we're going to use one large egg. If your eggs are small, perhaps you can use two. These are quite large, so I'm just using the one. And again, we're starting with all the liquid ingredients, and we're just going to start, mixing this. It's so easy. Children can help you make these. I think that my son could make these with his eyes closed now. So they're really easy to make. They're fun to make. You can do different flavors. Just mix, be creative and add different ingredients. And they are a lot of fun, I think. So here we have our butter and our egg. I have a quarter of a teaspoon of sea salt. Sea salt or Himalayan salt. Do not use table salt. If you can, if possible, please don't use table salt. I just prefer sea salt or unrefined Himalayan pink salt. So I'm getting, a nice mix here. So perhaps I should have said this mix or this dough is going to give you 12 biscuits or cookies. Okay, now for the secret ingredient, and it's not a secret ingredient, but we have the recipe in the page as well because we make it. So we're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, vanilla extract is one of those ingredients that most of the time, if you were to buy in the supermarket, they would have added sugar, added color, artificial flavoring, and lots of different, perhaps, like an artificial sweetener as well. So we like to make our own vanilla extract. It's really easy to make. And I'm actually going to show you because it's a huge bottle. So this is one of them. We make 8 when we make the vanilla. So it's just homemade vanilla. This one has been brewing, or has been in the bottle since the 8th of November. In essence, it's really simple to make. You buy a white spirit. In this case, we used vodka. Try to get a good quality vodka. And then we bought vanilla pods. We sliced the vanilla pods in half, placed them in the vodka, seal it, let it in a dark, cool drawer in your kitchen, or in the cupboard, and just let it there sit for at least 8 weeks. I know that it feels like it's a long wait, but it is going to give you the most amazing, it's just going to give you the most amazing, delicious and natural vanilla extract that you can have. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of soap, and also you use so little that you wouldn't worry about the alcohol. But if you are slightly concerned about the alcohol because you're making this for your children or anything like that, maybe you can add half a teaspoon instead of a whole teaspoon. So we have the vanilla here. We're going to quickly give it a mix, and then we're going to add our sweetener. So the sweetener that I find best for this biscuits or for this cookies is erythritol. I like erythritol because it doesn't leave a bitter taste like stevia sometimes can. At the same time, it's safe for pets. Some of the keto or low carb sweeteners in the market may be lethal for dogs. So I would recommend that when you are choosing, the sweetener that you'd like to use, just take all of those things into consideration. I find erythritol, just pure erythritol, really good. It doesn't have an aftertaste. It's as similar to sugar as it can be. It's natural as well. It's not, artificial. So and I think that it's really good. I have, and I must share with you in a quick video at some point, I actually make icing sugar or powdered erythritol. I make it very quickly just with plain erythritol and just in the blender. So I'll show you in the future how to make that as well. It's really easy for, like, if you're if you need some icing for cakes or frosting for cupcakes or anything like that. It's really easy to make, and it makes a very similar texture to icing sugar. So okay, I'm going to use my erythritol, and for the erythritol we're going to need half a cup of erythritol. It doesn't have to be powdered, you can just use regular granulated erythritol, and if you see it, it even looks very similar to erythritol. The one thing that erythritol does actually is that it does tend to crystallize more than sugar would, so this will actually help make a nice consistency in the biscuits or in the cookies. So we have the erythritol. We're going to give it a quick mix, and the next ingredient is optional. And now that I started adding the solid ingredients, I'm going to change my my whisk. I'm going to change it for a spatula. It's just going to make things a little bit easier. So the next ingredient is optional. I like to add collagen peptides to our biscuits and our cookies. They will work perfectly fine if you don't add it. It's really, it's not about the taste, it's just about the added protein that collagen would have. So I have collagen peptides. This one is from beef peptides. I also love to use fish collagen peptides or marine peptides. So I'm going to use a quarter of a cup of unflavored pure collagen peptides. There's nothing else in it. Nice quick little mix. And lastly, we are going to need 2 cups of ground almonds. You can also use almond flour. It does tend to be a little bit more expensive, and for this specific recipe, ground almonds work just as fine, or just as well. So I'll just ground almonds here. Just going to add 2 cups. And that is all of the ingredients that you require for the base. So just mix it until you get that dough-like consistency. And if you can think about, the flavors from the ingredients that we've added here, you can just smell the delicious butter, the vanilla. The smell is delicious, and you know that it's also, it's nutritious. It's something that is going to nourish your body. So when you eat it, you can be thinking about that as well. It's not just about, eating a biscuit because you fancied something sweet, or you were craving something sweet. It's about, the foods that we consume, to make sure that they are foods that are also nourishing our body, which is something that we're quite passionate about. So this is our base. I'm going to show you the consistency of the dough. It's very similar to just regular cookie dough. Now what you can do at this point is, one, you can add chocolate chips. Now I have these chocolate, they're more buttons than chips actually. They are little buttons which are 100% cocoa. They're not artificially sweetened, they don't have any milk, they're just pure organic cocoa. They make them so they're quite bitter, but because the biscuit already has the sweetness coming from the erythritol, and actually from the almonds can have a little bit of that, nutty sweet taste. So it's okay to use just 100% cocoa chips or the buttons. If you decided that you want to use, unsweetened chocolate chips that you have used for other recipes, and you like the ingredients, that they're natural ingredients, and that you like those, you can absolutely use them too. So at this point, you would be adding the chocolate chips or the chocolate buttons, and then what that would make is, a chocolate chip like this, oh, which is, really delicious. So that's one option. You have your base, then you want to, decide what you want to do with the base. I sometimes make 6 and 6 as well. So you can make a little bit of a combination. You can make half that is chocolate chip and then the other half that is a different flavor. So one alternative can be orange and coconut. Orange and coconut biscuits are scrumptious. They're absolutely delicious. Now, for the orange flavoring, what I use is an orange extract that I make as well. So the way in which you can make the orange extract as well, that again, it's not, it doesn't have sugar, or it doesn't have any artificial or, flavorings or anything like that as well. Again, just white spirit. So in this case, used good quality vodka, or, a vodka, washed 2 oranges, and then took the peel of the oranges and added all of the peel into the bottle. And again, this has been, the orange peel has been in here since the 1st of January 2021. So, I mean, the smell is just fantastic. It's just pure orange. So you could be adding a teaspoon of the orange extract onto your cookie dough. If you wanted to, you can grate some of the orange skin as well, or orange peel, and mix it with the dough. Sweetened. Some of the desiccated coconut brands will be sweetened coconut. We do not want to use that, because we just want to go with the plain unsweetened desiccated coconut. So you can add some of the coconut into your dough. But also what you can do, and that I actually quite like, is you can roll your dough ball for the biscuit, and then just roll them on the coconut. So you can have the coconut around the biscuit, and it just makes a really delicious crispy biscuit as well, with the coconut flavor and the vanilla and the orange flavor coming through. They're very delicious. They're great for the summer. Actually, they just have this freshness coming through them, but they also have the creaminess from the coconut. So again, a fantastic option. Probably add about a quarter of a cup of desiccated coconut onto your mix, and that would make them lovely if you wanted to make the 12 biscuits, with the coconut and orange. And lastly, if you wanted to make a double chocolate chip biscuit, you would include your dark chocolate buttons, but also something that I found that it's really, really good in biscuits, and it just makes them really, really delicious, is just cocoa butter chips. They're not white chocolate chips. They don't have any sugar added to them. It's pure cocoa butter. So they make really delicious chocolate chip cookies. If you wanted to do like a double chocolate chip, you can add the dark chocolate, the cocoa butter, and then just make a really good chip. If you wanted to do a triple chocolate chip cookie, what you could do is, to your dough, add a tablespoon of pure unsweetened cocoa powder, mix it up, and that will give you a nice chocolate base. Then you would be adding whichever chip you like to add to the mix, and then you'll bake them normally. So whatever flavor you decide to do, You bake them at 160 degrees Celsius or 320 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. You don't need more than 15 minutes in the oven. Take them out of the oven and wait for them to cool down completely. Once they have cooled down, they are going to acquire this, they're going to be firm, but see, they're still quite soft inside, which is fantastic. Now, I did mention to you that I wanted to share what I have tried in the past, and it worked really well. If you like sort of the more crispy type of cookie or biscuit, so I tend to put them in the oven at 160 degrees for 12 minutes. So just 3 minutes less than I would normally do for the if I was just baking them in the oven. So take them out of the oven at after the 12 minutes, and then place them in a dehydrator. We use a Ninja dehydrator. We've used our Instant Pot as a dehydrator as well. Both work really well. You can also use the oven. So oven, dehydrator, or your Instant Pot or whatever you're using, just bring the temperature down to 60 degrees, and that is 140 Fahrenheit, and just leave the dehydrator on for 6 hours. I know that it sounds like a very long time, but this is going to do two things. One, it's going to give you that real crispy type of biscuit that you crunch as you're eating it, and it's quite satisfying if you like that type of biscuit. But also they last a little bit longer, particularly if you live in a humid climate. They will last a little longer. So we will dehydrate them, we'll put them in a airtight container, and they'll be okay in that crisp type of texture, if that's what you like. So okay, so what we'll be doing next, and I'll probably just show you how to put them in the tray here. I'm going to add some of the chips. So I'm just doing, not very professional, but just a handful of the chocolate chips. And then if you have one of these ice cream scoops, they can come very handy when it comes to making cookies. You can also just scoop with a little with a spoon, and then you can just roll them with your hands. There's no, but this one just makes it incredibly easy. So just scoop, and all of your biscuits will be, or cookies will be, even, which means that they will cook evenly as well. So I'm just making the scoops. Some of the chips are escaping. Here we go. The one thing that you do need to do with the almond-based cookies, which you probably don't need to do with a regular base cookie or biscuit dough, is once you have measured and you have your cookie dough balls on the mat. I'm just using a silicone mat, or a non-stick mat. You can also use just parchment paper or baking paper. So once you have them all laid out, I do like to flatten them. Now you can use your hands, or you can use something flat like this, just measuring cup, for example. So just flatten them a little bit. In essence, whatever shape you leave them to be, when you put them in the oven, that is the shape that they will keep. They won't go any flatter. So we do like them quite chunky. And this is just, I suppose, our little technique that we use. Then we would just be putting these in the oven now, nice and hot, because we've been preheating it whilst I was doing all the talking. put them in here. We're going to time, Alexa, set the timer for 15 minutes. We're going to time that for 15 minutes.
Starting now.
And by the time that those 15 minutes pass, the whole kitchen is going to smell just divine. It's going to be such a nice smell. Take them out of the oven. Make sure that they're completely cooled down before you eat them, unless you like them really soft, you know, then you could, but they will be quite crumbly and soft and chewy. If you like that texture, go ahead and eat them straight out of the oven. Just don't burn your hands, you know, or your mouth as you're eating them. The one last thing that I did want to mention to you is when you are, you know, trying your you know, low carb, grain free, sugar free cookies or biscuits or any other, you know, baked goods that you try that are, you know, natural and homemade, is I would really invite you to approach eating them, you know, with a curious mind. So what do I mean by that is, don't eat the cookie or the biscuit expecting that it's going to taste like a store-bought cookie, or like a cookie that you would normally, you know, buy in the supermarket, or, you know, buy in a bakery, because you are potentially going to be disappointed. They are not going to taste the same. However, you know, what I really like to invite you to do is eat the cookie and enjoy it for what it is. Don't not like it for what it's not. They are not a store-bought cookie, you know, they don't have a whole lot of sugar in them. They are delicious. And I promise you that if you approach it with an open mind and a curious mind, but also thinking, you know, am I nourishing my body as I eat this? You know, rather than just, you know, mindlessly, sometimes we may eat 5 cookies or something like that. And then we don't realize, you know, how many we've eaten. But if we approach, you know, eating some of the baked goods with the idea, you know, that somebody worked really hard to produce the ingredients, you know, that were then brought into a supermarket, and then, you know, we bought those ingredients, we brought them to our home, and then our hands, or our family's hands, you know, may have helped us bake those, you know, biscuits or those cookies. And we also know that, you know, they are really going to nourish our bodies as we eat them, that we're not putting anything in our body that, you know, that is going to make us bloated or uncomfortable, or that our body is simply going to suffer for it, you know. So they're all natural ingredients. Try them. They are incredibly delicious. You know, it really is a recipe that comes from our hearts. We have made numerously. Our friends have tried them. You know, our family have tried them, and everybody enjoys them. No one has ever said, "Oh, you know, I was disappointed. They didn't taste as, or they taste different from." They are really good cookies. They have, you know, really delicious, that, you know, in the flavors. So try them. Send us a message, you know, if you do try them and you enjoy the recipe. But also, you know, if you use the base and add different ingredients or add different flavors to it, please share. This is really about, you know, sharing good things that nourishes us, and you know, that we are enjoying them for what they are. I heard this phrase of, you know, just to finish up with the idea of what we eat right now, you know, on a daily basis. The phrase said something like, you know, we are overeating, however we are undernourished. So again, when you are, you know, baking something that you know that is going to nourish your body, think about it that way. And then, you know, express the gratitude to the ingredients and to what you know, to yourself for making it as well, and giving yourself the opportunity to make something like that. So I'm really grateful for the people who joined me today in watching this. I do hope that, you know, you and your family and your friends enjoy this biscuit. I look forward to your feedback around it, and I hope that you have a lovely evening. Thank you.